Today's guest is Melvin Chen. Melvin is the founder and CEO of CareGP, who have developed Australia's first AI-native agent suite built specifically for GP clinics. Their platform, with agents like Samantha, Veronica, and Karina, are designed to supercharge administrative workflows. It reduces paperwork, it accelerates document processing, they're cutting costs, and ultimately, they give clinicians more time to focus on patient care. So Melvin, welcome to ROI from AI.
Hi, Brad. Good to be on.
No worries. Welcome. I would love to start with the genesis of CareGP. What was the journey that led you to founding this movement, you could say?
Yeah, it's been a long journey. I've started my first health tech company back in 2015. It was more in the wellness spaces and a marketplace when I was in Hong Kong, and so from since then I've been building it in the space. Uh, I actually came to build CareGP in Australia via another company I was a part of, where I was doing international expansion into Australia and selling into hospitals, and that was selling more chat type AI, and also voice. But then when I came to Australia, I noticed that there was a huge middle market segment of GP practices where they were saddled with admin burden. So when you walk into a typical GP practice, you see 3 or 4 receptionists there, and they all seem to be all very busy typing away and doing various things, and actually too busy to sort of attend to patients or the doctors as much. And so that I thought was a really interesting problem to solve. And so then resolved to, when I decided to leave and found CareGP, to solve that problem and see if we could reduce the admin burden significantly with the help of new technology like such as AI.
It feels like a very human approach to something that's very technologically based, and I've seen it described as AI native. So I would love to know, how do you define what AI native means? Because that's a term I haven't really heard much about before.
Yeah, well, there's a couple of things. One is in the product. Are we using the latest AI, which is the large language models, uh, in your product? And for us, it's very much so that we're using the different language models to infer information and then extract information and populate it. For example, with Samantha for processing and importing medical documents, essentially takes out the need to do data entry. And then Veronica, which is voice, that relies a lot on large language models to be able to speak with patients, to book appointments, and for other use cases. And so that's part of it. But the other aspect of it is that within our teams, we use AI significantly for both product development, but also just research and other functions, business functions within the business as well. So it's an AI native company is not only using the latest AI in their products, but also in their business process and engineering processes.
Yeah, well, you mentioned a couple there, these AI agents, Veronica doing the voice calls. You've got Karina for inbound communications, Bill for billing, which I love. Your most recent one, Samantha, which is for document processing. How do you prioritize which of these workflows to automate next? Is there a bit of a roadmap, or are you looking at client needs? What's that process like?
Yeah, I think that's actually one of the most important aspects of building a startup in any industry, but especially in healthcare, where there's quite a lot of regulation and friction, is that picking the right use cases to solve first, and and then building from there. And when we early days, we spoke with the teams and worked very closely with a couple of different GP clinics, sitting with the receptionists, sitting with the admin teams, and looking at what was the biggest problem. We realized actually the most time was spent on the document processing problem. And so we decided to solve that in conjunction with realizing that like the technology was quite ready for that to solve that problem. Voice wasn't quite there, and I think it's still getting much better. So that's actually one of the most important things of being real about not what is shiny in a product that solution sort of looking for a problem, but really starting with a problem and thinking about the technology. Is it good enough? Is it low cost enough to solve that problem? And then we went all in on Samantha, and Samantha has been growing tremendously. So since we came out of beta in May, she's been growing at above 50% week on week. Now we're serving about around 100 GP practices and accelerating fast. And that's all because we found the problem statement that the technology was ready for. It still took quite a while to build the product and hundreds of thousands of documents to get it to where it is, which is really in a good spot. But because we did the work up front of really being real about the problem and the technology, we were able to, once we launched the product, has been very extremely popular, and word of mouth has meant that we have a lot of inbound. So we don't really have to go and try and do so much outbound for customer acquisition.
Yeah, I could imagine you have to be quite agile with identifying these problems and maybe doing a bit of a reshuffle with what you're prioritizing. And these are very robust agents by the sounds of it. Can you reveal who the next agent could be? Is there a Brad podcast host? Who's the next person? Who's the next one?
Yeah, I think I should share with you our. Let me see if I can share with you a little bit about what's coming in terms of our roadmap. So this is our website. So we're building the first AI operating system of AI agents for general practice here in Australia. And so Samantha is the first one. She's out of box solution for document allocations currently into best practice, but it will be also integrating with other practice management software. So she's become very, very popular. So Veronica is currently in beta testing with our customers. Karina for inbound communication, so think emails that come in and communicating with the patient, and then Bill for billing. But then we also have a few others that we're thinking through that are on the roadmap. So these are in beta testing. So and it's very, very iterative, is that we work very closely with our customers. We actually have a customer support channel for every single customer, and we work with some select customers on co-creating these agents. So there's for some problem statements around doing campaigns for patients, right, and querying the database. There's transferring medical records is the pain point, referral management, and then sort of a patient portal. So some of these are on their way, and we're taking a very iterative approach. But Samantha is the one that's fully commercialized and just become very successful. Very, very simple demo. This is a live sandbox, which is on our website. You can go check it out at caregp.com.au. If you click on the sandbox there, it'll open that up and you can have a play this is all de-identified dummy information. Essentially, before the workflow was that when documents come in, say via fax from a specialist or via post, then you have to scan, and via email, you have to download those documents and then individually upload them into the best practice or the PMS bulk document import tool, which looks a bit like this. Except when you upload them, you have to then fill out all these 7 fields on the right before importing manually. So you have to read the document, identify the patient. Obviously, there could be patients with similar names, and there could be a lot of mix-up in terms of the inaccuracy and also delays to get it to the doctor's inbox. So it would take a couple of minutes at least to do each document. So each clinic has 100 documents coming in. That's several hours of admin time. And some of the larger practices have almost a full headcount devoted to this task. So what we've built is an automated system that fills everything out for you. It also tells you where things are being pulled from. It then cross-checks it in the database. So here, for example, we're using identifiers like the date of birth. That's cross-checked in the database to verify. And so once Samantha's happy it's verified in the database, she fully verifies it. And all of the ones, which is something like 90% of documents, are fully verified. They can just go in one click of a button. They all get imported like magic. And you see they get a little celebration. And then the ones that are the edge cases, Samantha helps you to verify those. That was the date missing, and then this one, there's no identifier or the date of birth isn't shown. So then you can accept the recommendation, and then those can also go straight in. or just like that. So just really very, very magical experience of solving that very complex workflow. So it's just really cut the down. Our clients are telling us that it's in some cases it's cutting it down from, say, taking 6 hours to taking around 20 minutes a day to solve that workflow. So that's why it's become so popular.
Oh, it's unbelievable. Just that time saving alone is very substantial. Is that your main metric for success, is time, or what are some other metrics that you're using to measure?
It's actually quality. Quality is always first in healthcare. It's about how much more accurately, consistently can you get the work done. So it's tough to know exactly what the error rate is with humans, but we know it's certainly in the high single digits in terms of uh, at least having one error or at least one error per document. Because remember, you're entering with your hands 7 fields, right? So the quality of some of those fields, the subject or the contact or the date, um, it just is prone to error. So you'll be making errors, and then those can have consequences to do with misallocating the document to the wrong doctor, or just because it's taking so long. You've actually heard of situations where the documents arrived in the GP practice and the patient has arrived, but because it didn't get to the doctor in time, then the doctor didn't review say the specialist letter or whatever documentation. Then the patient has to rebook again. So the accuracy and the consistency is the main benefit. But of course, now that the receptionist is able to do it within 20 minutes instead of 6 hours, then that frees up a huge amount of time that can be used for other tasks, such as doing campaigns or following up patients or looking after clinicians. Or you could reduce the need for having sort of casual receptionists that come in and do that workflow. So you can make a cost saving as well. But what we're seeing is more that they're taking the time and using it to do more productive tasks.
I could imagine that it's not just for GPs and their clinics, but their patients as well. This is an industry where human error has ramifications, probably more so than any other industry. So I think this will have a real flow on effect, and there's this new frontier. But one thing I'm really curious about, going back to the AI agents, is how you've really personified these agents, and they've got names, they've got ethnicities, they've got skin tones. How do you build these personas, and what is the thought process in developing these characters?
Well, and from the outset, I love design, and that's something I've learned from my previous companies, and so I really wanted to use design to make the product enjoyable and relatable. So in healthcare, being relatable and empathetic is very important. And so with this with CareGP, it was very immediately apparent that if we use design in the right way, we could we could make it very fun and enjoyable, engaging. And so um, so I have a designer that we work with who's very good. We generated these avatars with AI to be it's clear that they're not a human, and so we can walk through a little bit here. So that they could say they're not human, but they're an AI agent. So we don't want to say they're human. They're sort of, they look human like, but they're more like a avatar. So it's clear that they're a human. And there's more coming. There's a Trevor is the currently a sort of positioned as our customer support puppy, and there'll be there's a lot of ideas coming in terms of the other avatars that we bring on. So that's definitely I think some of the feedback we got from the practice managers is that they really enjoy uh, um, Samantha, and it's partly is because of the persona and the gamification that we brought into the product.
There's something very identifiable in their style and their design. It's very well thought out. Has there been any reticence to adopting these AI technologies from clinicians? Are there some that are kind of fearful of this technology? Because obviously the adoption has seen huge success, but I could imagine maybe there's some people that aren't fully on board just yet.
So we haven't seen that because, and I think that's partly because where we took the decision not to build anything clinical. So this is all admin for now. This is addressing the admin burden rather than clinical um, uh, workflows. So there's a lot of companies building scribes, clinical scribes, which are a bit more clinical and have some higher risks. And we decided that maybe AI the world isn't quite ready for that. And now like the AI scribes have had a lot of traction, but there is much more risk associated with that. So for us, we haven't seen any pushback. We were initially a bit worried that, oh, if Samantha is now, are people going to feel threatened, or the receptionist going to feel threatened? But actually, or the PMs, and they haven't at all. We haven't had any reports, and the receptionists just love it. And they're just the NPS scores and the CSAT scores are just through the roof. And we actually had even videos sent to us of people, the receptionists dancing to Samantha, helping them with their work and importing the documents. So it's been a real hit. We haven't had any pushback on the sort of AI taking people's jobs or causing risks. In fact, it's reducing errors and improving quality.
It definitely feels like the future is here. In a way, it's a new frontier, and I can see CareGP building a legacy almost alongside all these other health tech and AI-based clinical inventions. Where do you see CareGP in this space evolving in the next 5 to 10 years?
Look, we're here for the long run. One of the core cultural values of the company is long-term thinking, and it takes decades to build something that's truly generational and can have the ability to transform an industry, which is what we're here to do. And so, um, at, over 10 years, it's too far away to really see. And I think after 10 years, the goal is to really be transformative and look back at 10 years ago and see that we really have transformed the industry. I think in the next 3 to 5 years is a bit more sensible time frame to be able to make some judgment about which direction we're heading. I think it's more agents that work together with Samantha to, in aggregate, just improve processes even more and synergize and add more value so that we reduce the cost of running a GP practice, improve the quality. That's in the next 3 years. And then from 3 years, I think we could see us moving into other segments of healthcare. So potentially into, we don't know which ones yet, but other segments of healthcare that have similar problems. And there's quite a few other adjacent segments, whether it's say specialists or dental or NDIS, or all of these different aged care, all these different aspects of healthcare that we then create a brand for those to help those different segments. So that's sort of the immediate, and then after that, I think we'll be looking at international, looking to go international and take that benefit that we build, that OS, to the world.
Super exciting. And the work that you've done, I think will have that flow-on effects for humans. I think AI is helping us be more human. So I'm really excited for the next 3 to 5 years for CareGP, but I would love to end on a question that I ask every single guest, and it is, Melvin, what is your biggest tip for a return on investment using AI?
I think look for solutions that have been deeply integrated and very well thought out and tested. And so what we've done to enable our customers to get on board and see the value and benefits, that we took a long period in thinking through and working with partners to build a product, integrate it with best practice, and we're a best practice partner, which is the practice management software. And then we give everyone a pilot for at least 2 weeks so they can try it and they see their teams using it. And so I would highly suggest look at all the different solutions, but very importantly, pilot them and ask for feedback from your team and pick the solution that really everyone is aligned on and enjoys.
Yeah, beautiful. Lots of testing and trying, it sounds like.
Absolutely. That's the name of the game.
Amazing. Melvin, the work that you're doing, I think is incredible. I'm really excited to see it evolve, and you should be very proud of yourself for where you're at now. And also congratulations to Samantha and Veronica and Bill, the entire team, all the agents. And thank you so much for joining me on ROI from AI.
Thanks, Brad. We're just getting started. Appreciate you.